Welcome back, friends. Yes, you guessed it. We're here live at Viva Fresh Expo 2026, located at
Where?
the beautiful JW Marriott San Antonio Hill Country Resort in San Antonio, Texas.
I mean, this thing is popping.
Yeah, there's quite a few people
popping
still.
all day too.
I've seen some bars rolling by, which would indicate that we're getting darn close to happy hour. So
I think
before
that's a good observation, brother.
we let our hair down, as it were, we've got a visitor,
Yes, we do. We have a very special visitor,
Mr. Tommy Wilkins.
a man that needs no announcement.
Needs no introduction, but
Or
let's
no
just
introduction. That's the correct phrase.
say,
Yeah.
Mr. that too,
Yeah.
Mr. Tommy Wilkins of Horton Fruit, and also all things Viva extraordinaire. Let's just say,
Yeah.
so I don't spend half an hour here with the list, but you know what I mean. Hey,
mean-
Tommy.
Hello, glad to be here.
Thanks.
How you doing, Tommy?
I am tired.
Yeah. Are you? It's been a long week.
It's been a couple of days.
Yeah, it has
a
been
couple of days, but
So.
it's a blessing.
rewarding, though, right?
Very rewarding.
It's like our
Emotional.
Super Bowl.
It is. It is. Yesterday was very emotional. Recognizing Mr. Craig, and the speaker was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, that speaker. You know, and I said this to somebody yesterday. It's like every year I kind of think, wow, we're not going to top that one. And then it just happens. I mean, I thought that gentleman, he spoke, his testimonial was just
Powerful.
insane. Yeah, powerful. Yeah. And really wish, we don't record those, do we?
I don't think we do, but
And that's
it's a miss.
unfortunate.
That's
Yeah,
a miss.
unfortunate. So, because that would be really something of value for the members and for people that couldn't be here. And
Daily reminder for us.
it is, yeah, 100%. So, yeah, and go ahead, Ed.
He was a master at basically just playing with your emotions, like in the literal sense.
Yeah,
I was up and then I was kind of down and then I was up. And, we all have something to relate to. It's kind of like going to a funeral for somebody that you don't really know that well, but for some reason you're crying because you can relate, at least your own mortality or otherwise, or those around you. And so you get the emotion is stirred up, even if it's not connected to that. I had something happen with a friend earlier this week that I was thinking about him. And yeah, it made me emotional.
well, yeah, because, I mean, the young man that's speaking is about the same age as my son, and, he talked about his mom, be safe. I mean,
How
yeah,
many
my
times
wife
have
says
we said
my
it?
wife says that all the time, to him, and it's just like,
I had several people talk about that roller coaster of emotions, and at the end, they thought he was going to jump out of that wheelchair because he.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like they kept waiting for him.
I never did. I was pretty sure he was legit, but
Yeah, but he did take you on a roller coaster, and it's very eye-opening.
well, I mean, and the fact is we all tend to let whatever our problem is, whatever the dilemma we're facing, we forget just being alive.
We let it define us.
Yeah, we let it define us, but just being alive is pretty good, right? We're pretty fortunate just to be alive, and then to be alive in this country makes it, a double win.
Yes.
And so, I don't know. It's hard. He talks about no bad days. I try and subscribe to that, but it's tough sometimes.
Life's tough.
I'm hoping it gets easier now that I'm getting out of the produce business. I'm hoping my bad days get less. But yeah, tragedy happens.
But yesterday was a pretty good day. That's either a really large paperweight or a.
Well, it is definitely a large
Is it a
paperweight.
large paperweight? What happened yesterday?
Well, I was fortunate enough, and I'm guessing the list must have been pretty short, but I was awarded the Healthy Living Award.
By who?
You know what? Farm Journal. Farm Journal is who awarded this. They do this every year. I'm beyond honored to have been nominated for this because I don't, I know you know me. I don't.
You don't proclaim to be
100. I'm not perfect, right?
Well, nobody is.
And always, it kind of makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable because you know yourself, and it's like yeah, I try and do things. I try and have an attitude and a healthy life, and I do that. But I also know I like to have fun. I do things I shouldn't do. I don't always eat what I should be eating. But at the end of the day, I'm beyond honored. But I told Tommy this, and I'm so glad they let him speak yesterday. It was emotional, Tommy. It was emotional for me. I didn't expect. I had no thought process that it would be emotional. But this heavy
Well, it's a
paperweight,
nice surprise, though.
it was, and this heavy paperweight, is as nice as this is. I can tell you, it is nowhere near as meaningful to me as the words Tommy had to say in public. And I don't think I know nobody's ever publicly said anything close to that nice about me.
About you.
Yeah, I can assure you.
Well, Tommy, I'm sure you weren't trying to break any records, but I know you meant it, man. We all felt it, and it's a special thing. So, for those of you that do not know, Tommy and I were the first round of, or two of the four first rounders of the Clean Eating Challenge, a concept that Craig had brought up in a SteerCo meeting to help promote health and wellness, our association, the expo, fruits and vegetables as food as medicine concept. So all this to say that we were part of that first class, if you will, and then fast forward a number of years.
So you remember Heidi in that meeting? Remember they had the veggie burger? That was what they want. That was the concept they wanted to go. They wanted us to lean into the They wanted us to lean into the veggie burger plan or something like that. That was the concept that was there. But
We had to come up with something better.
Well, we didn't do that.
we didn't do that. But something I want to say, which is, had I spoke yesterday about, as it relates to the Clean Eating Challenge, and I've told this to Tommy, and I don't think people appreciate the participants. And, because what you're doing is you're putting yourself out there.
Oh, heck yeah.
And not only putting yourself out there, you're sharing personal information to help, to really be a help. And a guy, to me, that's a difficult ask. That's a tall task to be willing
People
to do
won't
that.
do it, and we're talking about primarily salespeople here. That really you should be pushing yourself to put yourself front and center, not shying away from speaking opportunities, from opportunities to engage. I mean, that's what we do. And if you're not doing it, you're missing the boat, because the longer you wait, the harder it will be to do. So you're totally right. It's.
But you guys jumping off the diving board.
I wasn't patting myself on the back. By the way.
I am.
This is my call to action for folks that won't.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I am patting you on the back, and especially you two guys, because you guys had to be willing to take that risk. And maybe you didn't realize what you were doing when you did it in the moment, because it just kind of came up in that meeting. But anyway, Tommy, I think you want to say something there, it looks like.
Well, I think my biggest regret is that more of the industry don't realize the value that we could bring to their lives. Okay. Because it takes a tribe to do this. I mean, my wife is very supportive. I had you as a coach. We sprinkle in John Sprinkle. That's kind of
pun intended.
Yeah, but you've got the other people that are in the challenge that we share the ups and downs of what's going on. But I don't think I got it the first time around. And my number, I mean, we lost some weight, and that was wonderful, but nothing like what this one was. So, I think we all have family that we want to be better for. I think we undermine maybe the better employee, coworker that we would be. But I think on top of the speaker yesterday, you pile singles on top of wins on top of each other. That health is just such a major part of how your demeanor and your attitude is. I just, there's so many people that I'd love to take advantage of what this would change in their life, because this time around it's been life-changing for me.
Let me ask, so for me, and I think this is probably pretty true, but I'll ask you guys. I know it's the big difference for me is it has to start here. Between the ears, you have to somehow switch your mind, right? And it's got to be, In my case, there's got to be a purpose, right? And I look at it as a selfish purpose, as opposed to you don't do it for somebody else because it's really hard, even though you want to. But you in your mind, you change, you find a purpose. What is that you want, and then go at it. And then for me making that change and recognizing, that piece of it, it made a big difference for me. And it helps me because I do have a purpose and I have a reason for wanting to be like I am. But for you guys, did that switch different this time, Tommy? As that happened, or?
Well, probably 8 months ago, Saturday morning, I got up not feeling real well. It was about 6 a.m. and 8 o'clock, it was not getting better. And, for the first time I went and got my wife, I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. I don't feel good.
Right.
And so we go to the hospital, and of course we do everything in the world. And the doctor comes in and he said, okay, Don, there's good news and there's bad news, kind of like the speaker yesterday. Good news is you're not having a heart attack. The bad news is you're going down a path that will cause a heart attack. Okay. So I'm sitting there with two 5-year-old grandkids, and, just a blessed life, and I'm not taking care of myself. You got several key factors that the doctor trace, and so, slap on the head, a wake-up call is that you have a choice to continue down the path that's going to cause some problems, or you can change some things and enjoy life more. So that was my wake-up call.
In talking with you and knowing you moved to Dallas for grandkids, but yeah, it's definitely, I could sense that your purpose is really those grandkids. And, and that is a selfish purpose because you want to be there with them, right? And you want to see them grow and be able to physically be able to deal with. And when you set that kind of purpose, I think that the chances of you actually sticking with it and going forward, as long as you remember, that's what I set out to do, is my purpose is to be healthy for these kids as long as I can. That'll keep you rolling.
Well, if you look back to that morning that we went to the hospital, and obviously the way I was feeling, and then you fast forward today, and the way I feel today is night and day. And, it just gives you an opportunity to look out of a different lens at life. And when you feel better, my wife's very active, and we've gone on some pretty good bike rides. We're going on hikes. We're just doing more of life and outside life. And that makes a big difference. You get outside and breathe oxygen and take in some vitamin D. It just makes you a different attitude in life.
It's really not that hard to do, though. I talked to when I had the opportunity to mentor the second year after we did ours, or we competed, and we're also by the way, competing as a mentor while we're mentoring, which is kind of was what I was hoping would keep me honest. But hey, wash your own car, mow your own lawn, sweep your own driveway. Yeah, we're all busy, and it's nice to have the convenience of having somebody else do it, but pretty basic things.
The three of us was in a room when Viva Fresh was a dream. None of us knew it would evolve to what it is today, but the simple word that came out of that, if we could increase the consumption of what we grow, it's good medicine. And through my journey, you just feel better when you eat better. And like you said, it's not hard, but it's easy to go through a drive-through and eat bad stuff, and you don't feel good. I think it's a journey, and it's a mindset, and there's demons all along the way. But if you can get over a hurdle where it's easier to work out, it's easier to get outside, it's easier to eat healthy, and you just don't want to go backwards.
So, Ed, I'm curious on your side, because I know, and it goes back many years.
It's a Tommy interview, buddy.
I think it's a clean eating interview, and I think you're a central guy on that.
Okay.
So,
all right.
If
he'll allow it.
Yeah, and so just curious, purpose. Did you find a purpose? Did that get in your head? What clicked? Do you recall? I mean, I would think you'd still have that purpose if it did.
Mine was, boy, I'm trying to think. When we were in that meeting, you told Tommy, I remember I've said this before, and I felt like you were picking on him. And I remember thinking, what the hell? Why not jump in? You don't really need it, but who knows? You might learn something. That's how it started. It wasn't, man, because look, the reality is you gave some warning, and the warning, I think, is whatever you believe that even the cleaning challenge is going to be. If you think you're going to be spoon fed, every meal and what you should do, you're coming to the wrong place. You're not going to succeed anywhere, really. It's if you really want to succeed, you're going to take it on yourself and have the discipline to move forward. Yes, you're going to get coached and you're going to have support, and there's going to be a lot of things, but if it's not a full-on prescription, the same prescription for every person. So I started that way, and once I got into it, I realized that a lot of the reasons why I was not feeling well was nutritional, because of nutrition. So the better I felt, the more encouraged I was, and sort of a kind of a snowball effect. Now, when I start to deviate and feel symptomatic of some sort, then I kind of know to, recheck what I'm doing. Like, am I giving myself too much grace too often, or you know what I mean? So, not perfect for sure, and I'd like to do better, just like everybody else would. But I'm in a way better place than I've ever been, or I have been since 25 years ago. So it's been a long week. Haven't had a lot of sleep every night. Been blowing and going, as my wife would say, when it comes to getting out there and getting after it. There's another one of your sayings.
Getting after it.
But I feel great. Like, I feel better than the day I got here.
Yeah.
So that means something.
Yeah.
That means something. Put on 2 golf tournaments, help put this thing on with you guys and the podcast and everything else, and, running up and down everywhere. And, I feel great. No worse for wear. I mean, you want to go play golf after this? I'm ready.
Let's go.
All right.
Except I got a plane to catch now, so.
Oh, man.
But no, but
You're anti-fun.
But for you, like I say, you the feeling great became the reward, right? That's kind of a purpose. Your purpose is like, I like feeling good, and that sounds simplistic, but that's selfish. So it's selfish, but it's a good selfish, right? It's a good.
Well, the purpose is family, right? Obviously, I mean, I want to be here for my kids too, and I want to,
yeah,
dance with my daughter at her wedding, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but you're gonna make me get emotional.
But you have to. To me, I think that's sometimes the missing link on a lot of times, right? Because it's not about you do 10,000 steps a day, right? And you can check that box. It's because that's not sustainable, right? You got to have you got to have a far-reaching thing, something that's bigger than you, that you're going after, and then you figure out what you need to be doing to get there. But you kind of have to have in your mind, this is what this is worth. And
well, you gave me a book early on that talked about what you would want to be like in 10 years and 20 years. And that really enlightened me to not just, at the end of this journey, but really what we can do to change how you feel. And, I've kind of bought into the theory that it's not how long you're going to live, but whatever you're given, you want to feel as good as you can for whatever you have. And that's a gift.
Yeah, that's me. So, I was in a nursing home with my mother-in-law. There's a lady, she'd either turned 100 or 101 or something like that. And they're rolling around, got the balloons on. She doesn't know where she's at. Doesn't, being 100 for her was, was nothing. Like I say, she didn't know what it was. And that there was a couple of different scenarios, but that impacted me as, I want to just go as hard and try and do as much as I can, but take care of myself so I can keep doing stuff and keep living, and every day be alive. I appreciate it, because my day may be tomorrow. And you know what? I think people would say, well, Craig had a pretty good week before he went, because I did. And that's the way I want it to be. I don't want it to be like, he didn't make the most of what he had.
Yeah, we say that remember, we talked about Ken Martin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, love that picture.
There's literally a picture,
I love that picture
at his winery.
Yeah.
having a huge meal with his family, and he's toasting for his birthday. 2 days later, he was gone.
When I saw that picture of Kenny, and yeah, for me, I was just like, oh my God, that's it. That is
That's the way to go.
That's the way to go. And you know, and he did. He lived life to the fullest. And you know, next way, we're gonna go someday. You know, and might as well enjoy while you can. So
Yeah. Well, we've reminisced. We've talked about clean eating.
yeah,
Your award. Who won the? You didn't win the drawing, right? Yesterday for the clean eating. Yeah. We'll have to follow up on that. See
Probably
what they
should.
get. I don't think they announced what the giveaway was. We've done some Pelotons.
It was a Peloton bike.
It was a
Was it?
Peloton after all. Okay.
Yes, it was. And I picture the lady. I maybe didn't work on memory as much as I should, but
That's our next challenge.
yeah.
I could use the memory
There's
challenge.
something about paying attention at the moment
that
I
helps.
struggle. Yeah.
Be present, but sleep. That's the you know you
It's gonna
need.
be hard. For
And
me.
that's one that I had. That's one that I've had to change because I was that guy that I'll sleep when I'm dead. But after researching and studying and listening to that, yeah, that's the risk you run. You know, Ronald Reagan wound up with dementia. He was a sleep when you're dead kind of guy. The lady over in the UK, Margaret Thatcher, she was same deal. Wound up, but sleep. They've found that that's getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep is essential. And outside of when I'm at Viva Fresh, I do a pretty good job of getting close to that. You know, I just go to bed earlier.
Wow.
And really made that a switch because I really felt like that. I used to be as a young guy anything that was a waste of time eating. You know, I'd say when I was young, I just wanted like the Jetsons. You know, the Jetsons, they had little pills that come out and they'd eat and that'd be dinner. You know, and that was always my thing. Pills, sleeping, whatever. I thought that I couldn't be doing something was just a waste. And unfortunately, that's not true. God gave us sleep for a reason. And
recovery.
yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we're nearing the end here,
Are we?
literally and figuratively.
Is that true,
of
Mason?
the
I
expo.
don't believe it.
So our time has flown. Tommy, thanks for joining us. Mr. Craig, well, congratulations on another successful clean eating challenge.
Well, and congratulations on that fabulous show, Tommy. You're now at the kind of the center. You're the main guy that helps at least get the funds to make this happen, and that is the number one job in the whole deal, right? Because nothing happens without the sponsors, and I know you lead that charge, and you do such a good job. So, congrats on another
Yes,
fabulous show for sure.
There's just like in the clean eating, there's a wonderful support group, Full Tilt, the TIPA staff. I don't know how many volunteers we have. I mean, it takes unbelievable amount of time. But, you know, when we started this 11, 12 years ago, I never could have envisioned what we're seeing out here today. And, you know, it's I think we've made an impact in the industry.
Yeah, no, for sure that much has happened. And,
Thank y'all for letting me come on today.
Indeed, and Ed, your golf tournament went off
A couple of
super
tournaments.
well. Do you feel good about the winners?
Yeah. No comment. All right, y'all. We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us.
All right, take care. See y'all.